What's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2019 career mode here for you guys today for the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's going to be a very interesting one because this episode here at Canada is the first time that I experienced playing the game in the new patch or the recent massive patch that came out for F1 2019. So I was really excited just to see how it all went. But obviously, first of all, I could pick myself a new rival. So I decided to opt for Sergio Perez in the Renault because, as you can see, a lot has actually changed in my career modes in terms of overall performance. So if we have a look at things, you can see that Ferrari have got the best power unit, just Mercedes, though, have really ramped up. Look at that in the chassis department. Miles clear now. They brought a huge upgrade to that department there. Aerodynamics is just Ferrari's game there. So overall, Mercedes and Ferrari looking very close. And in fact, it is. There, as you can see, is the comparison chart now. So it is Mercedes and Ferrari neck and neck. And then it's Renault in third, ahead of ourselves in fourth. Then Red Bull dropped to fifth now in the championship there. But as we go in towards Canada, I took myself a brand new gearbox. Eventually, later down the line, I will be doing some upgrades on the gearbox itself because it is wearing out too fast, mainly because of the way that I just drive and how I shift through the gears. At the end of Q1, though, we set the fastest final sector of anybody so far, and it gets us into P8 and comfortably through into Q2. I only had to do one run. I am trying my hardest now to try and get through as many qualifying sessions on just the one run, but you can see that we're already confirmed to get our 5-place grid penalty. It's Mercedes and Ferrari split at the front, and then the two Renaults and McLaren split at the back there. So nice to see that we've got literally a proper comparison, whereas Red Bull, you can see, already falling off the pace slightly. In towards Q2 then, and trying to see if we can set an even better benchmark than what we did before. Very nicely done through the chicane now as we open up the DRS, taking that short run to the line now. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to be the case. So our first run is 1.2 seconds off the pace, but I believe that was on my used set of tyres. In towards the final part now here, we've got just one more attempt now to try and get in towards Q3 here. We get a decent run through the chicane, gain some time actually from it in the end, and we're 9/10 up on our personal best lap time, and we fly on through the start-finish line there, and it's going to be P5, so it is enough to get us into Q3, which is great. And obviously, we do have a 5-place grid penalty coming for our gearbox change, but it's awesome to see that we can do that. Again, it's Mercedes and Ferrari splitting each other, and then the Renaults and the McLarens in the mix with Red Bull there as well. Surprisingly, Racing Point actually knocked out in Q2. I thought they might be able to get through with Devon Bullsack, but maybe he was overrated. And then in towards Q3 then, so this is my first run in Q3. I'm just following on to the back of Bottas here, and it is actually starting to rain slightly now. As we come across the line here, we go second fastest, 0.3 of a second shy of Charles Leclerc's best lap there of a 1:07.5 it was. I tried to go out again on a second run. I'm currently in fifth at the moment. But unfortunately, the rain got too heavy. I couldn't quite improve on my lap time. I tried my hardest, and you can see I could have come into the pits at that point. I just decided to go around and finish the lap. Like these tyres I'm going to use in the race, probably not anyway. And we crossed the start-finish line. It's going to stay fifth, I believe it is, which is still a great result. Take the 5-place grid penalty into effect. We will be starting P10 for the race. But you can see that the pace looks good. In qualifying, we're just shy 0.3 off of Charles Leclerc, who was on pole. And you can see that we were close to actually beating Bottas there. But yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a decent race. Actually, a good result for McLaren.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. What was the secret of your qualifying pace?
Honestly, the AIs are not good around the track, and I love Canada, so why wouldn't I be fast, I guess?
How's your grid penalty going to affect your strategy going into the race?
I mean, it's a spanner in the works, but I had to take a penalty, but I'm not really going to comment.
Well, thanks anyway.
Cool. Okay, so that is qualifying done and dusted then for this Canadian Grand Prix. We did what we can in quali. We got P5 as high as we possibly could, just behind the top two teams. But without further ado, let's get straight into things. Let's get into not qualifying, we've done that already. Let's get into the race for this Canadian Grand Prix and see how many places we can make up.
Canada has a true love affair with Formula One. The grandstands here are always packed to capacity. It's a country that has given us the likes of Gilles and Jacques Villeneuve, the thrilling Grand Prix of '79, of '98 and of course 2011. They love their motorsport in Montreal and we absolutely love coming here. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history. Could be the cause of a safety car today. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. They haven't had any retirements in the last 5 races. What do you think that says about the reliability of their car?
I think they can be fairly pleased with that record so far. The first thing any good car needs is a solid, reliable base with which to build on, and they seem to have that this season.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Bottas, Lando Norris, and Sainz, Verstappen, Gasly, Perez, and Thomas, Butler, Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, and Albon, Grosjean, Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen, and George Russell. Weber and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Alright, so we're on the starting grid then for this Canadian Grand Prix. It's going to be a 2-stop race, so soft tyres to a set of mediums to another set of mediums to get us to the end of the race. Quite straightforward, really. Starting 10th place. Let's get into it then. So as you can see, we're on the grids here, and we've now got 3, 4, now 5 red lights here for the start of this race here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and it's lights out. Here we go here to start the Grand Prix. It was a good start by one of the Renault cars. I think it's Carlos Sainz. We go straight towards the inside lines. That's going to give us a great run here down the inside of one of the cars. Bit of contact made actually there between one of the Renault cars, but we quickly get past the Red Bull and both Renaults there around the outside of turn 2, and now we're straight onto the back of Max Verstappen for P7, I believe this is, I think we're actually in P7, Verstappen for P6, because Norris will be up into P5 then, and we go on through now. Got a bit of under pressure here from one of the Renault cars just behind of Carlos, so I just need to be careful of him, because that Renault is bloody quick in a straight line. It's catching up. I think it's actually faster than my car in a straight line. I can't remember actually, but as we go now through in towards the middle sector here, just trying to settle down into things and just try and build ourselves a little bit of a rhythm as the Ferraris and the Mercedes is leading the distance then, and obviously we are now onto the back of Verstappen. I had a cheeky little look in towards the hairpin there, it's nearly pushing him through, but we get a fabulous exit on the hairpin, and now we've got that run sort of already cleared the threat of the 2 Renaults behind, and now our focus can be up front here against Max Verstappen. Now in the slipstream here, Verstappen goes defensive to the inside line of the chicane. We'll go to the outside line then, and we're going to try and swoop this one around, and we do just that there. Shove Verstappen wide, compromise his line, put him under pressure now from Carlos, and Carlos now is trying to get into the act here, and as you can see now, onto the inside comes Carlos on Verstappen, and now in towards the first corner. Can Carlos make it? And he does so, but Verstappen's still there on that inside line, so he's really fighting for this position now as we try and pull away now up front, and Carlos and Max still, they go side by side. They can't be separated here, these two, and Carlos gets it. No, Verstappen still holds it around the outside, and eventually Max actually maintains place. So great stuff there between the Renault and the Red Bull there. Meanwhile though, at the front of the grid, things are spicing up there as well. Charles Leclerc is beginning to pull away out front, and Vettel is not a fan of that, and he's going after Hamilton now in this race, and towards the chicane then, Hamilton's going to defend the position. Vettel just gets a better secondary phase of the chicane, and now all of a sudden the DRS is going to help him, but Bottas now is going to come through and try and make an attack here. Vettel goes towards the outside line and towards turn 1. Will he make this one stick this time around? No, he's not. He's going to just try and hold in there. Hamilton's going to have a better line around the outside, and he maintains position, but Vettel is going to be fuming at this. He's got a great run though in towards the chicane here. This could be Seth's position, and he's done it really well made, but Hamilton still tries to fight it on in there, but Vettel squeezes him onto the apex there. You can see Charles, all the meanwhile, is pulling away out front, and Vettel is going to not be happy with that. Charles is going to be extremely happy, and here comes Hamilton now to go on to a second attack. Dives it late towards the inside line. Vettel didn't fully cover it here. Hamilton tries to go towards the inside line. Meanwhile, we look at us two now, myself and Lando Norris, because I've been closing up on Norris, following run with the DRS as those two fight up front. I'm now going to fight on Lando Norris, go towards the inside line and towards turn 1. That's me moving up into 5th place there in this Canadian Grand Prix, but these lot are still fighting up front there. So Hamilton now gets a much better run compared to the Ferrari car, and he's back in front of Sebastian Vettel. But these three fighting is only just allowing myself and Lando Norris to close up to them. There's the three of us, and then there's the two of us at the back there. So yeah, you can see how we're slowly but surely just closing on these guys as they continue to scrap away. Of course, we don't have the out-and-out pace to beat these guys on track at the moment, but they're certainly giving us a great fight there as Seb doesn't quite get as committed on that attempt. But what's going to cost him now is going to be his run against Bottas. But unfortunately for Valtteri, Seb too has DRS here, and as you can see, they're just going at it again. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. You can look at the gap that Charles got out front, really pulling away nicely now, as Hamilton now has to look at potentially his mirrors here on Seb. He goes slightly defensive towards chicane, but Seb gets a sensational exit out of the last chicane, and that's going to give him a fabulous run now on towards there. As in the process then, here comes Sebastian now to go towards the inside. No, not quite. He doesn't make that one stick. For us though, as that move was actually going on, as Seb was about to make that move that you just saw, that's when we decided to pit for our first set of tyres, breezing it into the pits. Hashtag pit assist is on. And we're coming in now for our first stop of the Grand Prix to go on to a set of the medium tyres. We should rejoin, hopefully, in a bit of clean air. If not, then a little bit of traffic that shouldn't really phase us too much because we're fine with that. And then, of course, we just need to crack on with our race. You can see one of the Red Bulls there, Gasly, really not having the best of times there. Quite far down the order. But it looks like we are going to rejoin in quite a bit of traffic, which isn't the greatest thing in the world, but we gotta have to deal with it. We slot ourselves in just by Verstappen. It gives us a squeeze there on the exit. So Verstappen not giving any room at all in this phase of the Grand Prix, but really slow through that portion of the track. And now, of course, we need to try and find a way past him. And we're going to just go down the inside here of Verstappen. He left the door open, and he's actually got one of the Haas cars now to fend off. So you can just leave him to it, and I can carry on with it. Got a bit of clean air before I get onto the back of Magnussen in the Haas car. So I can just use what I've got now. As we've got a yellow flag at the front there. That's one of the Ferrari cars, and that is Charles Leclerc, who is leading this Canadian Grand Prix. And that's his race over and done with. The reliability of Ferrari just gets worse and worse this year now. And Charles Leclerc is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. That is not what Charles would have wanted in his in a Grand Prix where he was doing so well at. And there's his car parked on the side there. So that is a free position for us gained in the Grand Prix, technically. And now we're on to the back of Magnussen here. Got a good run through the final exit of the chicane now. Going to ramp up the fuel mixture and the ERS. So don't actually have that much fuel in ERS to work with, but I have enough to do it against Kevin Magnussen, and we get past him. Next up the road is going to be Lance Stroll. But here's a replay, actually, of that DNF there. So there's Charles, unfortunately, going through, and that was really close between Charles and Hamilton. I don't think Hamilton knew where Charles was going to park up the car. No, he just goes towards the... Oh, that's so close between those two. Lewis didn't know which way Charles was going. Wow. Yeah, that was really, really close. That was maybe a bit too close. For us, though, we're now onto the back of Stroll and Albon, and luckily for me, those two are having a bit of a scrap. Very clean move there on Lance Stroll. Slot in towards the slipstream here of Alex Albon, and make the move towards the inside line. Thank you very much. Barge our way through. Have to go around the outside slightly just to confirm the overtake, but on fresher tyres, we've got the grip to go around the outside of the Ferrari. Vettel there does indeed pit for medium tyres and maintains position in front of us. Bottas, though, didn't maintain position. He actually lost out. Vettel is now closing up to the back of Hamilton. Hamilton stays in front of Sebastian, but Valtteri, unfortunately, by staying that extra lap longer in terms of out of the pits, has cost him slightly. What hasn't cost him, though, is the fact that he's eligible to go onto soft tyres for this middle stint. I cannot. And in that circumstance, goodbye, Valtteri. I will see you later. I don't have the outright pace to beat him. And at the end of the day, I need to manage the gap. And onto lap 21 of the Grand Prix. The middle stint was a bore fest, I'm not going to lie to you. I was just going round and round and round. And we're coming in for now for our second stop, breezing it into the pit lane. Obviously, you saw that we activated our pit limiter and we didn't speed in the pits and didn't use pit assist, so don't judge. And we're coming in for our final stop, which is for another set of mediums. The second stint was dead. But as you can see, Hamilton and Bottas now are back out and they're in front of us. Now, all I can hope for really is if they do close up, if they do scrap, maybe I can get position. But at the moment, it looks like we're settling down for 4th place in this Canadian Grand Prix. As you can see, Devon Bulsack there still needs to make a stop. So we're going to get in front of pretty much everyone in this queue, bar the 2 Mercedes cars, which honestly is not a bad shout. But on to lap 32 of the Grand Prix now. Once again, still just trundling around, but I can just see at the front, you can see it there. Both Mercedes cars are going side by side here. They're having a little bit of a scrap here. The gap was 5 seconds on lap 30, I think it was. Now it's down to 2.8. Now, if these guys keep scrapping, might just be able to snatch something from this, but it's half-hearted. Lap 33 to 34, they're still going at it. That was really bad. I'm glad I got a corner cutting warning for that. If I didn't, I would actually cry. Sorry. But yeah, they're still going at it. 1.8 now the gap here. And with just 2 to go, if I can try my hardest to stick with these guys, and that's exactly what I've done. I've now got DRS on these 2 out of here now. Through the final chicane. Absolutely fantastic run that time around now. Bottas here versus Hamilton. We're now in the slipstream in the DRS range of this. Fastest final sector. We got the better run here on Bottas. Barge our way through the Mercedes car. Cover the inside line and snatch 3rd place in the Canadian Grand Prix and a slot on the podium out of absolutely nothing. We didn't have the pace to get onto the podium here. Now we've got to defend the position against Valtteri because he's going to be fuming after he's just lost that one. Hamilton there is just up ahead as well. We might not only have got past Bottas, we might have a shot here at Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis gets a great drive off that exit, the right-hander. The AIs are so powerful on that piece, but I've not got enough fuel, unfortunately, to work with here. And as we go now through the chicane here, not the best of runs. I don't think I'm going to have everything to fight Hamilton. I've had to go into lean fuel mixture to save some fuel as well. Bottas now comes towards the outside line here. Very close here towards the hairpin. I can squeeze Valtteri though out. I've got the better line through there. And as we go onto the to the back straight, sorry, not the start finish straight, we go now into rich mixture, hot lap enabled, DRS also enabled as well. That's going to give us the boost we need. Put overtaking. I've literally got no battery left. I've got 1%. Vettel wins the Canadian Grand Prix. We break now for the last corner here, and that is it. Done and dusted. We're going to snatch a podium in the Canadian Grand Prix. I cannot complain about that.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
Excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and there's certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Well, there it is, guys, then. So, Vettel wins the Grand Prix ahead of Hamilton and then myself. Bottas claims P4, and he set the fastest lap as well. Russell and Leclerc, the only people to DNF in the race. Solid result. Pace was very, very good. Drivers' Championship. Hamilton leads the way ahead of Bottas by 8 points. We're 17 points back in the championship. Still very much well in contention here at this stage of the season, and ahead of the Ferraris. Constructors' Championship, it's Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Renault, the top 4.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
I'm breaking all expectations, and that's telling.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
I started 10th and I finished 3rd. Are you mad?
Well, thanks anyway.
You should be blessing me because I was on the podium, love. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for my F1 2019 career modes here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Like I said, we had very, very strong race pace. Definitely not enough to beat Mercedes and Ferrari, but because Hamilton and Bottas scrapped so much, I was just able to close in. And if I was closing into those guys, I should have definitely managed my fuel a lot more, and I might have just been able to put on an attack on Hamilton. Didn't work out though, but we've got 1,700 resource points that we can work with, which is great for us. So let's get straight into using those upgrades. And I actually think I completely forgot to say that the upgrades for, I think the ultimate engine upgrades that I had, which was going to come for this race, worked. Completely forgot to talk to you guys about that. My bad. But it is on the car. And I'm going to do my first upgrade on the drag, because I haven't really done anything in terms of drag reduction. And then I'm going to do a minor upgrade as well on the tyre wear to get that in for France. And hopefully then we should have potentially 4 upgrades come for France, which would be massive. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.